Welcome back to another episode of Web3 Daily News. My name is Jay Chains. We are joined today with Fairlane. Now, Fairlane is going to be a speaker down in the Women of Web3 Summit in Miami, Florida, November 30th to December 1st. So if you are thinking about attending down there, stop thinking about it and just buy your ticket, darn it. Right? Right, F?
Right. They should. Yeah, just do it. Just go 90 on this. Just do it.
Just do it for goodness sake. It is going to be such a good time down there. Now, I'm excited to be running this series where I get a chance to, I'm the MC of the conference. And so I get a chance to speak to all the speakers, panelists, everybody before we get down there. So it's a really good way for me to get to know everybody. And so I'm really excited to chat with you today, F. How you doing? What's going on? Are you getting ready for beautiful Miami, Florida in just about 5 or 6 weeks from now?
Right. Yeah, I am. I am actually located in SoCal, specifically in LA. So I've always been spoiled when it comes to the weather. So I might actually be the envy of about 90% of the people that's going to attend the conference. But I am looking forward to everybody that I will be meeting at that conference. It's always so nice to be with the like-minded people. Mm-hmm. And I feel so good when I learned that there is the workshop part of the conference. So I'm very excited about that. I think getting down and dirty when it comes to the technical aspect of marketing is always a good thing.
Absolutely. I think, one thing, we can't be forget about is the educational aspect, because a lot of us, we do live the lifestyle, so we're in it, but remembering to bring it back down and get that educational aspect to, what we do at these conferences, because this is a great place for people to start learning about blockchain, NFTs, crypto, all that kind of stuff. But you say marketing, that I assume is your big focus.
I've actually, prior to, I moved to the US about 9 years ago. Prior to that, I've always been involved in the marketing side of things. I actually worked for a pretty big advertising agency. So it's DDB actually. So it's a global advertising and marketing agency. And at the end of the day, most of what we do is really marketing. So and I think just to piggyback on what you said, because we're so involved in this thing, because we do it every day, even if we think that we're the master level marketer, we still miss a lot of things, because most of the time we're so focused on one thing to make it work that we forget to actually sort of widen our knowledge. And I think this conference is going to be a good opportunity, even regardless of your marketing experience, whether you're just starting in it, whether you're so into it, and even if you're not in marketing, just to be able to come here and actually learn what this is all about and how it's going to shape the future. I think that it'll be very helpful.
That's great. Now, and I assume, whenever you talk to, whether it's projects, people, anything, someone looking for, some marketing advice, was, specifically in the Web3 ecosystem, because, it is new and, it's like the Wild West and everybody's trying to see what's going to be the proven strategy. Or do you have like a top 3 things that you tell people, like, hey, if you're trying to market yourself, this is what you need to be focused on?
I've always said that when it comes to marketing, regardless of the device that you're using or the tactic that you're using, the first thing that you need to know is who you are and what it is that you're marketing. Whether you're marketing yourself, you're marketing a product, you need to know what that is first in its core. Because regardless of the devices, regardless of the platform, if you don't know what that is, if you don't know that core of what you're selling, quote unquote, it's not going to matter. The technology has always been agnostic. You can take it anywhere, any direction that you want it to go. So you first need to know what it is. Second is that you need to know what the end result is that you're hoping for, because that's going to drive all of your tactics. Number 3 is that Web3, the Metaverse, NFTs, is still in its infancy. No one really knows what it's going to look like. And I don't know, I may be dating myself, but I remember during the infancy of social media, when there wasn't a Facebook yet, I think there was another Friendster, I think, before Facebook, and MySpace, during that era. Oh, yeah. No one really knew what it was going to be about. Everyone thought it was just a dating site, and apparently it's not. And I think it was good and bad at the same time, because then it ushered in and transferred the power of marketing into individuals rather than corporations.
Hmm.
But it was bad to a certain extent, because now it seems like there's an anarchy in social media. So I think it's just important for us to know that we actually have the power to drive this thing to any direction that we want. So we just need to do it consciously. Um, because after that, after it, the technology part is the easiest part, right? It's technical, so you can always learn how to use it and where to use it for.
Hmm.
But for you to know the overall direction and for you to consciously drive it to the direction where you want to go, that's the more difficult part. So yeah, those three things.
That, I mean, that's fantastic. That's a great top three list. I think with with some of the strategies that I'm sure people take, employing some of Web3 strategy and fixing it up a little bit, doctoring it, making it a little more, Web3
Right,
friendly.
right.
I think is really cool. What was your deciding factor? And it sounds like you've been in, this role in this industry now for quite some time. You seem like a pretty high level expert on it. When did you see that shift in your focus from what you were doing with Web 2 into more of that Web 3 driven ecosystem?
Quite honestly, it was my some of my nieces.
Mhm.
They're Some of them are barely into their teens, and they started talking about things I didn't know about. They were learning about things from places I wasn't even aware of. And sometimes it was this gaming thing where people, when you're into gaming, you will know that you can actually interact with everybody from any place in the world, and the information gets transferred so fast, and there's all of this on the fly images and graphics,
Mhm.
and I and it was, to a certain extent, it knocked the wind out of me, because I felt like there's this a bunch of 10-year-olds schooling me as to how they discover products and how they learn things. And I think that was like probably 3 to 4 years, maybe longer, maybe 4 or 5 years, 6, 7 years ago. I think that was when I realized, okay, we're headed towards a different direction now. And this is so strange, so new to me. And to a certain extent, it was so hard to accept that there is this thing going that I wasn't aware about. And that's when I realized, okay, this is a new frontier. We're headed towards a different direction now. We're entering a new era. And there are two options. Either I learn about this thing, I appreciate it, and I actually learn how to drive it to my advantage, or I
Mhm.
just get left behind. So the shortest answer to your question is that it started with gaming, and it was from this 10-year-old nieces and nephews that were in it.
It's really fascinating to me, and I'm not a gamer. I never really have been. It wasn't something I was always outside playing sports or just outside. That's how I grew up. But I do realize, and your validation in your story is kind of proof of all of that, is that gaming is going to be the largest catalyst for mass adoption and bringing
Right.
people into our ecosystem, and from multiple levels, right? And maybe not just gaming in the sense of, with a controller or whatever, but the metaverse, the gamification of,
Right.
kind of how it looks like we're trying to tokenize and incentivize people to get in and try something, and that's gamification right there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I think it's so powerful because the by nature, the nature of the metaverse itself, the nature of Web3, of NFTs, it actually transferred the power from the elites and from the corporations to to everybody, to the users basically. And
Hmm.
once that's utilized, once everybody else is utilized, there's essentially no way for this big corporation to trick the market, to drive them towards something that
Hmm.
isn't real, that the market doesn't like, because they simply cannot outpower volume. If there's
Right.
10 million people wanting something, there's, unless you have billions of dollars to throw into it so that you can change the direction, but that's not a very good business business model. So this, when it succeeds, I think when it succeeds, it's going to, and if we do it the right way,
Hmm.
I think it'll change the just basically how we live on earth, not just on a certain country, but it's going to change everything else.
Yeah. And when you say, and kind of to piggyback off that and what you had said earlier, with social media and how, there are some bad things to it. And how, it's brought up, like you said, that anarchy thing where everybody's got their opinion and, everybody's a journalist now and, everybody wants a few minutes in fame. But to the good side of it, and much like you just said right there, is that it now gives the opportunity for people to stand up and say, nope, what that company said is not correct. Like, nope,
Right.
the power of community, which to me, that's a whole nother conversation that we can have as Web3 community and how important it is. But that also drives this whole ecosystem, is the community voice and saying, hey, listen, like, no, man, we ain't gonna stand up for that. We're not gonna stand for that anymore. And I think that's a beautiful thing that collectively we can have our power as the people back.
Right. I think the one thing that will separate Web3 and the metaverse from social media is the decentralization.
Mm-hmm.
I think the mere fact that we are giving voices to everybody else, social media is giving voices to everybody else. I think that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, you're still controlled by a corporation. You still have Facebook behind Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, arguably the three most powerful social media in the world, and that's owned by one corporation. Mm-hmm. So you're at the mercy of their filters, of their bots, of whatever. With Web3, if we do it right, and the metaverse, everything is decentralized. So as bad as it may seem, yeah, you will have both or all of your sides having the ability to speak their piece. Mm-hmm. It may displease you, but I've always believed and have trusted humanity to know, to discern what it is, what the information that they will believe in or not. So I think that'll be the decentralization will be the biggest difference. And that I think is the one thing that Web 2 and the current social media will never, ever be able to provide everybody else.
Absolutely. I think that, there in my time in crypto, that's kind of always been the thought was like someone needs to build a decentralized social media platform. Right. And I know that there's been, several that have come out in the last several years, and nothing's really kind of, withstood the time or gets the market share that, any of the major platforms have. And I really hope that changes because like you said, to be able to decentralize the power of, that social media and the message, I think that to me is, kind of the whole point of why we're here. You can get into, some of the other arguments of, how regulation is going to change the industry. And it is what it is. I think, people have proven that maybe that's what we need, some kind of regulation on a financial level. But, really, as far as the decentralization of social media, I mean, to me, I think that's some of the most important thing as far as getting away from your traditional media sources that we've seen, especially in the last several years, might not be as truthful as we think they are.
Right. Yeah. Well, also, on the other hand, it's very young, right? It's just literally in its infancy. So when you're creating something so new, we've all heard of the stories of how the technologies that changed the world, down to light bulbs. It used to be, or radio for that matter. They called it useless in the beginning, and look where radio is right now. So I think this difficulty in trying to get over a certain hump in terms of adoption, I think it's all because it's just new. So people don't understand what it is. People don't realize the power that it has. But I think, and I've said this before, I believe we're one mainstream app away from massive adoption. Because if you would think back when internet was new and when phone was new, when internet was new, it wasn't really used by everybody else. Everyone thought that it was something that the military used or the government uses, but they don't need it. And then phone came in, and phone had the ability to actually connect to an internet, and that changed everything. I still remember the very first popular app. It was like the iBeer, where when you tilt your phone, it looks like you're drinking beer from your phone. It was so dumb. I thought it was like, I had it on my phone, but I thought,
of course.
I said, this is so dumb. It doesn't really, but it doesn't do anything. Like what? So I do that, and then after 10 seconds, nothing. It was fun though. But what it made people realize is that the potential that it has, that there is something in there that's native to it, that no other technology can do. So I think if we unlock, that's, I don't know what that's going to be, but I think we're one mainstream app away from massive adoption. When that happens, it's a game changer. That's it. We're never going back.
Absolutely. I mean, it could be as simple as, Minecraft or Roblox flipping the
Yeah.
switch and becoming fully blockchain, friendly. And that only helps platforms like the Sandbox out, which, I think they're, a head and shoulders as far as metaverses go, as far as, being a household term. I think, the Sandbox has done a really good job, getting the partnerships and getting the attention on them. Is it the metaverse for me? No, not at all. It is not my style. But
You're just saying that.
yeah. Oh yeah. Voxel, that's a question that I'd like to ask you. When you go into the metaverse and, like, say, you had whether it was a business meeting or you just wanted to go in and hang out with some friends, would you want to be in that room with something that resembled a human or something that was more of a voxel style? Like, to me, it's more, I like more of the hyper realistic nature of the metaverse, but that's just my personal opinion.
Right. I think we will develop that ability to actually create your avatar in your likeness almost to perfection. I think we'll develop that. Whether it's going to happen in my lifetime, I don't know. But I believe we'll get there.
Oh, yeah.
I personally think just the ability, it's the closest you can ever get to being with somebody without actually flying 10,000 miles from where you are if you want to be with somebody.
Yep.
But there's also that other side of it right now. So we came out with Aswang. It's the first NFT, Asian mythology inspired comic book, but it's an NFT. And it was, I'm a fan of Asian. Well, I'm Asian, and I'm a fan of Asian mythology. So the goal is to actually create all of these characters in the metaverse, so people can go in and actually experience the mythology instead of just learning about it. And that's just one fun thing, right? There's an educational aspect of it, but it's not necessary. But if you just imagine the potential for Web3 and for the metaverse, you can actually recreate the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Imagine being with our forefathers, actually seeing them sign the Declaration of Independence. How intimate, more, what else can surpass that? You can't transport yourself back in time so you can witness it in person, but this is the most intimate that you can get. And I think once people realize that, as I've said, once people realize that, that's it. There's no going back.
Oh no, 100%. And I fully agree with you there. It's about that experience, right? And the metaverse is going to change the educational landscape for sure. And like what you just said, I firmly agree that to me, that experiential learning will change the way the game is. Like you don't need a textbook. All you need is your headset, and you go in, and yes, right. You can see the speech, you can see the signing, you can go there and watch this painting be painted. It's just, it is such a game changer on so many levels. And I'm super excited for, until we're in a fully immersive world like that metaverse, I think it's somewhere between 5 to 10 years, probably closer to that 10-year range.
I think so. I think one of the greatest physical barrier is actually the VR glasses. It's so huge. It's so chunky. I wouldn't carry it in my purse whenever I go. It's just not, I'm not going to do it. It's so big. Right. You look geeky when you're wearing it. So I think once that technology evolves, it becomes like this, just glasses, but it has the ability to actually transform you into the metaverse. I think that'll also make it easier for people to get in it.
Yeah, that's going to be so cool. And did you obviously I'm sure you're familiar with that movie or the book Ready Player One?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, you got to check it out. So that, to me, when I have conversations with people about the metaverse, that's usually something that comes up. And someone says, "Oh, like Ready Player One. How long till we're like at Ready Player One?" And that was, a completely dystopian world, and you could log into the Oasis, and you could be anything, you could do anything, that kind of thing. And I feel like, and if you've not watched the movie or listened to the book or read the book, my suggestion is listen to the audiobook.
Okay.
It's narrated by Will Wheaton. It's really good. He did a very good job of narrating it. For the first time in my life, that listening to that audiobook was, to me, way better than the movie was. Now the movie sets it up on a different visual level,
Okay.
but you can't go wrong. I would definitely check that out, because it's a pretty cool setup to where, I think once we're in a fully immersive, interoperable metaverse ecosystem, say 10 years from now, it is going to be, I tell you what, that is going to be blockchain on steroids.
Well, I'm excited to get it. Yeah, I will. I will definitely. So I think you said a couple of minutes ago that you don't think that you're like the metaverse person, but I think 10 years from now, I think you'll be one of the leaders in there. I'm gonna bet on it. In 10 years, I'll see you in there. I'm like, you told me.
I hope so. I do hope so.
Yeah.
I'm betting big that the metaverse is going to be a big thing. Much like Mark Zuckerberg. You see him, and he's taking a lot of heat right now because of the money that he's putting into it. With
Right.
and he's not getting any return. In fact, that they're losing a lot of money, but he sees the potential of it, and a lot of us do. I do as well. I see where this is going, and I hope, like you said, to be one of the biggest people in the metaverse in 10 years from now.
Yeah, I think the ones that are ready to take the risk, that's what investment is all about, right? You invest in the future. You don't invest in something that worked in the past. That's just stupid. You
Yep.
invest in the future. So I think this is Zuckerberg we're talking about first and foremost. He will make it work. But on the other hand, it's also not something monumental. It's just natural. He sees something, he knows that this is where the future is. He knows for a fact that things evolve fast. He bet early on Facebook. Of course, that paid off. But he was well aware, even during his reign in Facebook, he already saw the evolution to different types of social media. It evolved to short form. There was, before TikTok, there was Snapchat, right? And then TikTok, and now even Instagram is evolving. So he's aware of it. Like, he knows that this thing that we have right now, no matter how good it is, it's not going to last forever. So we all have to evolve. Businesses, all of us, we all have to evolve. We will not have a choice. So it's just a matter of, are you going to do it now, or are you going to do it later? Might as well do it now. Then at least you can be the leader, one of the leaders in the metaverse and the Web3 when that happens.
I love that. Fairlane, very insightful. I actually had a great time chatting with you today. You're very smart, very easy to talk to. Looking forward to seeing you down in Miami in person, give you in an IRL handshake or a hug. I think it doesn't matter the Web3 life that we live. There is nothing better. I think, like we said earlier when we were recording, there is nothing better than getting together in real life with people. And the synergy is always better. It's great to just bounce ideas off each other and just see each other there at the event. So looking forward to seeing you down in Miami. Thank you so much for taking time to chat with me today. This has been great.
Yeah, pleasure is mine. Thank you. I had a good time too.
Very awesome. Now, if people want to reach out to you, if they've got any questions, they want to learn more about what you got going on in the space, where's the best place for them to find you?
I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. It's both the same handle. I am Fairlane. You can reach out to me anytime. Yeah, or you can go to our website, raycomedia.net.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining me. Had a great time chatting with you, and I will see you in just a couple weeks down in Miami.
See you there. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.